Okay, this is 9-5 homework G. This topic is percent increase and percent decrease. The formula you need to know to solve all of these questions is percent of change will equal your amount of change, so how much the quantities are changing by, whether it's going up or down, over your original equantity, right? So whatever number you started with. Okay, so this first question is if the original quantity is 10, so that number, you can see it's going to go at the bottom, and the new quantity is 13, what is the percent increase? So percent increase, that's our percent of change, so that's like our x. X is going to equal our original quantity, which is 10, so I'm going to put that at the bottom. And then from 10 to 13, how much does that change by? Well, that's the same thing as saying 13 minus 10. So that changes by 3, right? So it's going to be 3 over 10. Now, if you're not sure what 3 over 10 is, you could go ahead and do division. You could do Tybo, which is top number goes in, a bottom number goes out. 10 does not go into 3, so I need to add a decimal, bring that decimal up, and add a 0. So 10 is going to go into 33 times minus 30. You have a 0 here. There is no remainder, so we could stop right there. This is 0.3, right? So this is 0.3. The way we turn this into a percent is moving this to the right twice, getting rid of the decimal and adding the percent. So this is going to be 30%. And it is a percent increase because the original number was 10 and it went up to 13. Okay, next one. Craig likes to collect records. Last year he had 10 records in his collection, so that's the original quantity. Now he has 14 records. What is the percent increase of this collection? Okay, so we're looking for the percent of change, and this time it's actually a percent increase. And from 10 to 14, that's 4. What's the original number? 10, so that goes at the bottom. And you could go ahead and do Tybo again, but here's a little trick. You know what the percent is if your denominator is 100. So I can multiply this by 10. I get a 100. Whatever you do to the bottom, you could do to the top. So now that you have a number over 100, that number represents its percent. So number 2 is going to be 40%. Next one. Number 3, if the original quantity is 5, so that number is going to go, remember, in the denominator. And the new quantity is 4. What is the percent decrease? So this time it changed from 5 to 4, so it changed one time. And you could go ahead and do division here. So top number goes in, bottom number goes out. 5 does not go into 1, so you need to add a decimal, bring it up, add a 0. 5 goes into 10 twice, minus 10. You do not have a remainder, you could stop there. Your decimal is 0.2, which is just like 0.20. So if you move this twice to the right, you add a percent, you're going to end up with 20%. You could have also done the trick here. If you multiply 5 by 20, you get to 100. Then you can multiply 1 by 20, you get 20 over 100, which is 20%. Okay, number 4. At noon, a tank contained 10 centimeters of water. After several hours, it contained 3 centimeters of water. What is the percent decrease of the water in the tank? So it's the same thing, except now your numbers are decreasing, right? So remember, x is my percent of change. In this case, my percent decrease. The original quantity, it started with a 10. From 10 to 3, we don't need to worry about putting negative 7. We just want to know how much did it change by. From 10 to 7, it changed by 7. This is 7 over 10. You want to divide? Go for it. Just, you could do some tricks here. 10 will go into 110 times, and then just 7 times 10 is 70. You could have done Tybo or Top Dog in the House if you prefer that. So the percent decrease of water in the tank is 70%. Number 5, if the original quantity is 13 and the new quantity is 25, estimate the percent change. So now we're estimating, or we could go ahead and estimate. X is my percent of change. The original quantity is 13. From 13 to 25, from 13 to 25, that changed 12 times. If you don't feel comfortable estimating, you don't need to, but I could estimate here because I know 9 out of 10 is 90%, right? So if you get 9 questions right on a test out of 10, it's going to be 90%. Well, if you get 12 questions right out of 13 questions on a test, you still only missed 1. So it should be higher than 90%. It is going to be lower than 100%, but that would be our best estimate.